he's back.
What's up, dude?
How's it going, man?
It's going.
We've had a couple of rushed situations, both you and I.
Yeah. It's been a hell of a time.
Yeah, it's never fun, but it is what it is. Shit happens, and it's not always for the bad.
Yeah.
So, made a couple of strides since you've been gone. Nothing too big. A possible kind of partnership with another podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
Nothing like on paper kind of thing, but somebody of a similar topic wants to work kind of hand in hand. So
that's always a great thing.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more exciting because it's of typically I got, like you and me or me and Justin, or it's mostly males on here. Them two it's from a female point of view.
Oh, cool.
So it's super exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'll be able to tell you more about that when I know.
Sweet.
They haven't started yet, but they're full speed ahead.
Oh.
Came over, had a meeting, picked my brain a little bit about the setup, the format, everything like that. So
wow,
it was a good time.
So now, like, you're the leader.
Yeah, it definitely gave me a little sense of purpose.
That's cool.
If I'm being honest, and it felt good. They felt confident in what we're doing here.
Oh, good.
So and they enjoy it, and that was nice to hear.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to dabble in a little bit. It's probably not something that you hear a whole lot of. Well, it is, because you're one of the people that we try to promote on here as far as your work with like emotes and the coding and everything that you're doing on your own, and hopefully now music coming soon. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, I've been doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Your list is about as long as my list of topics here.
Yeah.
We promote. Pretty much everybody who comes on here has the opportunity to promote something that they want or something that they're working on. And I kind of realized a little bit today why I try to do that. Is it's just, I definitely try to keep things home. I try to keep the value and the morale of small business kind of thing, I like to keep it close to home, and I like to keep it, quality, and I think that promoting the people that are trying to build themselves up around me is more important than saying go on Amazon.
Dude, I love that shit, man. I'm in a bunch of communities, and some of them are like really strongly about self-promoting.
Yeah.
And it's basically just like, if anyone has any skill, like, talk about it, say what you do, send examples, like, talk about your stuff and be proud of your stuff. And then they're very big on sharing this with each other and just like spreading their names throughout the community. And like, that's how I have made any sort of success doing my own thing. Is just from people being like, oh my gosh, this guy, he made my stuff. You should reach out to him. And then it's like, then when new people go in there and chat, they're like, oh, that guy, I know that guy. And then it's like,
and then everything sprouts from there.
Yeah. So like, I'm a huge advocate for people self-promoting and just promoting others, helping things get out there. Because a lot of people do really good work, and a lot of it goes unnoticed. And we're all in the same, the same line of work pretty much.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's like, you said it perfectly. A lot of this shit goes unnoticed, and that's simply because of a lack of not intentional, but a lack of following or the marketing. And without that, you're almost helpless. But that's why it's so important for a simple mention here and there, and you just don't know where it goes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of dabble in that, because it dawned on me today that I plug a lot of small shit. And I was like, but why? And it's nice to keep things close to home. And it's nice to know, your resources. And it's nice to know what the people around you are working on.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. It's something to be proud of. Everybody has something to be proud of. Well, you just got to talk about it.
Yeah, it's nice. I like having a person for pretty much anything. Like, if someone comes to me and they're like, can you do this? Or do you know somebody who can? I'm like, yes. I do. I know a guy. Or like, yeah, I can do this, because I've just met so many people that do so many cool things. And it's like, you know, a handful of them aren't professional level in this stuff, but it's they still do really good work. And then, you know, a lot of them are professional in their own spaces, you know.
And that's just it, you know. It's so sad when something like that finally becomes available and you can see it and you're like, why are you not doing more with this? And
Yeah.
well, I didn't think it was that good. Well, fucking
Dude, that's me all the time, man. I still feel like I make something, I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
yeah,
And, you know,
super self-critical.
yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. That's not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to be supportive and it's nice to see that shit blossom. So don't quit doing it.
No, I've actually expanded. I got an opportunity to create some album artwork for a musician, and it's really cool. And aside from that, I've got some opportunities to work on some video editing and do some projects for some bigger people, and just new opportunities, like things that I never thought that I would do. Like I have this project right now where I'm basically animating graphics to music, like to this specific person's music. So it's similar to making like a music video, but it's just everything's going to be graphics that I've made and then animations to match like the different levels and the different sounds, the different layers in the music. And it's going to be like this whole big production thing. And it's pretty cool because like I never even thought that that would be something that I would ever be doing. And then I was just like, I wonder if I could even do this. And he was looking for something, and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And then I did it with like one song, and I was like, this can be huge, man. Like it turned out really good. And then I was like, from here, I can create this whole like show for you, basically.
It's fun to discover shit like that.
Yeah.
That's super cool, man. I love when shit fucking it shows its face like that on accident.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, holy shit! Like I didn't mean to do all that, but that's great.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited. And then that part of me is like, should I just like do this full time? Like, should I just like, because like I love programming and stuff, but it hardly brings me any creative, like, not creative freedom, but it just, there's less opportunities with it. You know, most of the stuff that I make is like super fucking boring, and it's just like,
it's got to be kind of cool to see it like firsthand once you create the graphics, and then you can just watch it with the song.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's fucking amazing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can only imagine like being able to actually witness your shit firsthand and enjoy it because of the music that's with it. To me, that sounds fucking amazing.
Right.
So I'm like, why wouldn't you? That's great. The visual satisfaction alone.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah, dude. That's fucking amazing. I love seeing that shit come to fruition. And kind of like you said and what I was saying with promoting and being involved in everybody's hobbies and little shit, you know, you just don't know what kind of opportunities that's going to bring you, like you said. And
yeah.
I think that in and of itself is something that should be thought about day to day, because you don't know, like taking a step further in somebody else's life to help them or to do something with them. You don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Right.
And I think that's something to think about.
Well, yeah, and you also get an opportunity to help guide people and to potentially help blossom somebody else's career in this stuff.
Yep.
Like, I've had some people that have reached out to some content creators, and they're like, oh, I'm going to make you this thing. And then they post examples in like Discord or in the chat that we're in, and I look at them and I'm like, holy fuck, you should not be doing this. Like, I can see exactly how this was created and tell you everything that you did wrong. And so I reached out to them and I'm like, listen, man, that's not going to work in what you want it to work in. And these are the reasons why. And I said, but if you would like to learn, here's everything that I would do instead. And if you can make this work, like, I'll kind of show you how to do it. And then I always like make a really quick example of this thing, and then I show it to them. They're like, holy shit, that looks so much better. And I'm like, yeah, you just like, there's a difference between like wanting to do something and like, yeah, I can kind of throw something together. Like I have some like basic Photoshop skills and blah, blah. But like for somebody who does digital art on a regular basis, you could see something and be like, I know exactly how that was made. And it was in all of the wrong ways. And like, I know that you like want to do a cool thing and you want to help out, but like, it's just not going to work. It's bad. It just looks bad. And not only does it look bad, but it's just not correct. Like, you can do so many things to make this look better and actually work for what you want it to do. And so with being in these communities where you can share, you know, your stuff and you can self-promote and you can like just get in touch and meet all these people, there's opportunities for people to learn from others. And, you know, there's also just that other thing that I mentioned earlier. Like, I know a guy who's looking for a video editor. In this community, I know a video editor who edits this person's videos. So, like, I'm going to hook them up, get this guy some good quality video editing, and then get this guy more work. And it's like...
It's a win-win.
It's just a really cool thing.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
Definitely watching that shit unfold is more satisfactory than a lot of dollar amounts, you know, that come with it.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about right there. And at the end of the day, you know, it just makes it all worth doing. All the hard work and everything that goes into networking and paying a little extra attention to somebody's hard work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's funny. Some of the stuff that I see, I still have examples of my work from like years ago when I first reached out to people and I'm like, I can make stuff for you. And then I would make them stuff and you know, like, no surprise, they like wouldn't use it. And I'm like, why? Like, what the fuck? And then like now I look back and I'm like, oh shit, like that's why. Like this was fucking like this was such low level just garbage.
Fucking
like,
amateur hour over here.
I made everything for free. But like creating something then versus now, like I've improved it. I mean, it's like 1,000%. And I didn't really have anyone to like guide me and help me and like push me in the right direction. I just always had a knack for it. And so I'm like just self-taught. And every time that I get an opportunity, like this music thing, I'm just like, I mean, I could probably do it. I know how to animate pictures. I know how to take still artwork and animate it. So like, it can't be that hard. And then I learn it and it's not that hard. And it's like, you know, just another thing to unlock, basically. And
there's something to be said for people who are willing to at least give something a shot, whether or not it's like directly in your wheelhouse. I think there's something to be said for somebody who's willing to just branch out just a little outside of their comfort zone just to see.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's it gonna hurt, you know?
Right.
And turns out, like you ended up loving it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly my point. Is you just don't know.
Yeah.
So,
well, and like my wife too. So, if you guys haven't heard, my wife got an opportunity to do vocals for this musician. He's a DJ, but he's starting to produce his own music. So he's doing more so like EDM type stuff, stuff that just makes you feel good. And he's working on his first album ever, and he was looking for some female vocals, and my wife is like a really like kick-ass singer. And so I was like, well, you should do it. You know, like, I think this would be a great opportunity. And she's always been like a super good, super powerful vocalist, but kind of shy. I mean, she's hardly ever sang in front of me unless it's like to music and stuff. But, she's always been kind of reserved when it comes to that. And so, but I presented this to her, and then throughout this process, she's been recording vocals and then sending them to him, and he's been using them like live on stream and basically like making music with them. And so that one, she got to do it, and she sent it to somebody, and I heard them and he heard them. Not only that, but like hundreds of other people heard them. And so this process, like for the first 30 minutes of us all being there, she was like, oh my God, like this is actually happening to me. I'm nervous. I'm sweating. I'm going to throw up. I'm dying. And then everyone was just, just all of the feedback. I mean, everything was so positive. The guy that was actually mixing the music and like using the vocals was like crying because he was like, this is so fucking good. And then it brought her out of that funk where she's like, well, I mean, now I'm like, not on like a famous level, but like now I've done something that I never thought I would do. Like hundreds of people have heard me sing, and I just never thought that would be something that I would do.
She feels the admiration from everybody that got to hear it,
Yeah. And then from there she was like super stoked, and then she spent the next like week or two just recording vocals all the time, like singing everything, showing them to me, which is something that she's never done, sending them to him so he can like chop them up and just utilize them in other stuff. And it's just like really cool to see her branch out of where she was into this new level of comfort, because she was just given an opportunity based on like the people that we know. And so now it's going to bring her a lot more opportunities, and it just makes her more confident overall. And like she was like, I just didn't think anyone would ever like my vocals, and I've always wanted to do stuff with music, but I was always just too shy, or like I was too worried about what people would think, and and then it's just like everybody just got this sort of like boost and just this whole new opportunity. Like he can use them to make some really badass music, and she's like feels better about the whole thing. And it's just really cool, man. Like, so you never know, like if you take this opportunity that you're presented with, you just like reach out, or you like take the chance, or you try something, it could really help out. I mean, and you can blossom from it too.
Yeah, that's so super important, and this is one of those definite steps that we've talked about a lot on here about, stepping a little outside your making yourself a little bit uncomfortable just to try something new, or to find a new adventure like that. And that's exactly why you do it right there, because of that fucking, that when that stuff unfolds like that, and it becomes this true natural beauty in of a situation that you've always dreamed of.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know until you fucking do it, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm super excited to hear some of that stuff. It takes a lot of cojones to put yourself out there like that,
Dude, for real.
And like, I still hate putting myself out there for this to this day.
Yeah.
Just because it's me,
Right.
But singing, I like the true artist. You have to let your true artist flow, and to be able to do that is fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, like even now when I send people stuff, like projects I've worked on, when I complete them and I send them to them, I'm like shaking, man. And then the first time that those projects are displayed, like they're used by whoever I made them for, I get like nervous as fuck, and I'm just like, all right, I'm about to see the feedback. I'm about to see how this thing works in live action. Like, I think it looks cool. The creator thinks it looks cool, but like now I'm going to actually get to see it and then see what people think about it. And even at this point, I've done a bunch of projects for a bunch of different people, and I still get super nervous, but then you immediately see the feedback of like, oh my God, like this is cool. Or like sometimes, not very often, not to like, talk myself up, but not very often people are like, I don't know, it's like subpar, but even if they do, it's just like, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, there's probably things that I could have done better, or things that I could have made that were more advanced, but a lot of this stuff is just specific for this person, and I did that for this person, and they think it's cool, and so like that's really all that matters. But like I never send anybody anything that I'm not happy with. And if you want me to make you something that I think looks like dog shit, I just won't make it. Like I'll tell you that you got to find somebody else, because if I don't like the work that I create, I don't want my name to be associated with it. like at all. So I have in all of my advertising stuff, like I have every right to refuse your project if I just think it looks like trash. Like if I think you have a dumb idea, I'm just not going to do it because, you know, I don't want to put stupid stuff out there, really.
I can see both sides of that coin. As much as you don't like that.
Yeah.
I can see both ends of it because I'd be frustrated if I sent something and the creator was like, "It's trash, man. Try it again."
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it because you don't want to be associated. That association, though, in this day and age, the digital fucking world that we live in, a negative association can go a long fucking way. They say there's 10 negatives to every one positive, and I firmly believe in that.
Yeah.
And so I get it, but
well, then if I make some dumb shit and then this person like blows the fuck up, then people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, who made your stupid stuff that you're using for your name?" And they're gonna be like, "Oh, he made it." And then I'm like, "Great, now I'm known as that guy who makes like that's what I'm known for now. Is this dog shit that you wanted me to fucking make for you?" And I was like, "No, it's not. I don't care, money or not. You could pay me $600 and be like, make me some dumb shit, and I wouldn't do it because it's just too important to me. So I like my work, you know."
I have to ask, just because of the way this conversation has gone, I'm sure you are because you're smarter than that, but what is your so you're mentally prepared to do everything to the best of your ability, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at success as that's the option. There's no other option. Yeah. And that's fucking great. That's amazing. Are you mentally prepared for a downfall? Just one, maybe two, that wasn't intended? Because you talk about not promoting shit that you think is shit, but what if something goes out that turns out? I mean, I guess in your line of work, you can kind of prevent that.
Yeah. So I do a lot of testing before I send anybody their finished project. Mm-hmm. I use it in every possible spot in any situation that it could be used in myself to see that it works up to standards. And if it doesn't work how it's intended to work, then I fix it. And I will absolutely not send something that has the potential to be broken or to look bad or to not work. And, first I send it to the creator and they're like, "Yeah, that looks dope." And then I'm like, "Cool. So now I'm going to check it with all these different things to make sure it works everywhere." And then if it works everywhere and I like it and I rewatch it like 1,000 times, I'm like, "Okay, we're good." And then I send it and then it typically works exactly how I wanted it to. But there's always kind of that fear that, like, if I'd send something that's supposed to be in like 1920 by 1080 quality, right? And then they use it at like a smaller size and it looks blurry and it looks like shit. And then I'm like, "No, you're supposed to use it bigger than that." Like, stop. I'm panicking. Like, fucking, like, use it correctly. And so I also like have to kind of decide who I make things for, because I have to know that they know what they're doing with it.
That's true.
Because some stuff is like very specific sizes and there is room for it to be like expanded or contracted by a bit before it starts to lose quality. But if I make you something and then you use it incorrectly and then it's like, "Oh, this person made this and it looks like garbage," then it's like it just sucks. Like I don't like that.
So I guess I should be more direct without really having, I didn't put any back thought into that while it came out. But so functionality wise, you can handle that 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Between testing and everything along those lines is good. So what I was kind of thinking about was like, what I hear from, we'll use music artists for example. One of the things I hear from a lot of bands that I follow is like, "Well, we put this out because this was supposed to be the big one. This was supposed to be the big song that was loved by everybody, and everybody fucking hated it. Right. But we put out this song that we all fucking hated. Everybody loved it."
Right.
So something like that.
So
that shit's gonna happen outside of your control.
Yeah. So far, I guess I could call it luck.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't. Normally, how things go is somebody's like, make me this, or I just have to make something for something. I have to make a project, and I make it, and then I send them the first rendition of it, and they're like, that looks great, and then the feedback is pretty much all positive all the time, right? Sometimes I don't understand it because I'm like, why is this so positive? It seems kind of sketchy.
Yeah, there's that realm.
But like, it's been positive, right? Getting negative feedback on something is not really something that I care about at this stage, because I'm not like, I don't just make artwork and then sell it or advertise it and then people could be like, what the fuck is this? It looks like shit. People reach out to me to make them stuff, and then I do it. And if they like it, that's really all that matters to me.
Okay, that's
so
a big thing,
if
too.
people in their community are like, this looks like garbage, I'm like, well, good thing I didn't make it for you. Like, you know, because I make things for a specific reason. Now, if I did make something for somebody and their whole community was like, this looks like trash, well, then, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it might suck to hear, like, no, like, you know, obviously I don't agree, but I also don't give a fuck what you think, you know.
I mean, you make your points are more valid than not, and I would say in that aspect, the only thing that you have to not do is probably fucking react, which is fairly simple.
Well, I just know that most things are opinion based, right? So like music, obviously not everybody's gonna like the same type of music, but to me, I don't care what genre it is, I don't care what it is. If it sounds good to me, it sounds good, so I like it, right? And so if any musician makes anything, there's going to be people that love it, and there's going to be people that hate it, and there's going to be people that just listen to it and like are just neutral about it. And so I understand that side of it, where pretty much anything that you do as a creative is just the response from other people is just opinion based. I mean, whether you're painting or you're doing a podcast or you like to paint cars or something, like, it's all you're going to have people that are like, this is badass. And you're going to have people that are like, oh, I could do it better, or like, this is shitty, or, you know, and I just I don't really care. I'm not.
Well, it's kind of a weird twist, but I'm going to go ahead and use it because it kind of opened itself up. But this is one of the things I was going to kind of bring up. That we could just dabble on lightly for just a minute, but taking that same outlook that you just embedded into and really using that in life. Some of the hardest shit to do is to stay on the path that you're on, regardless of some of that kind of shit, you know? Regardless of what you're trying to do, if you're trying to embrace the music, the podcast, the artist, everything like that, the negative reviews, the same thing that goes with life. You know, you're gonna take bumps, you're gonna take negative reviews in your life. People are gonna have things to say because you're not doing what they want you to be doing,
right?
And it's just something that has it rears its ugly face pretty often. And I think you and I are as far different as we are. That is definitely one thing that I feel like you and I can relate to a little bit better than most.
Yeah.
The pressure to it's not. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like there's this constant pressure to just be a part of all the shit that everybody wants you to be a part of, when that takes away from what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's where your negative reviews are going to come in, because you're going to make the choice to do the things that are probably going to take you on a better path than just doing fucking nothing.
Right.
So.
Well, and I kind of experience it, I wouldn't say a lot, but so like I've thought about doing this stuff, like making videos about it or streaming me like working on stuff, whether it's coding or it's like creating some sort of project or something. But since I basically have started doing either one of these things, like I've been using Adobe tools now since I was about 14. So probably about 15 years of me using Adobe tools. I got introduced to it in high school when I was taking a photography class, and we were using Photoshop to just create, the projects that we could use in class. And then we like bumped up a little bit to using like Lightroom and all this other stuff. And I found that I had a really huge interest in photo editing. Like I liked taking pictures, but I loved editing pictures. I loved manipulating pictures. I loved creating stuff like advertisements and just making something, like taking this picture of like a guy and then basically the outline of him is the only original thing in the picture that I actually took. And the whole scene is just some crazy abstract shit, right? And so I've just always had this really big thing for editing photos. And then from there, I just kind of like, I went into another tool and another tool and another tool, and then I just kept growing and growing and growing. Now I use basically the whole Adobe library for everything. But there's like, I guess there's certain things, like I've always done things the incorrect way. Like there's like a way, like an industry standard basically of using these different tools and these different programs to create this thing. Like you want to make a vector logo for a company, you use this program with these tools and you use it this way. And basically, like if you went to YouTube and you searched up, like how to create a vector logo or a logo for your business, or how do you make how do you do this thing? How do you make a glow effect? How do you make this special effect in After Effects? And there's so many videos that are exactly the same. And it's like, use this tool this way in this sequence and do all this stuff. And I've never done that, because since day one of me using Photoshop, I didn't get a tutorial on it. It was just, I want to make this thing happen. How do I do that? And so I did research and I figured it out. And then I figured out how to use that tool. And up until recently, I came to the realization that like, you can use multiple tools in different ways and for different things. And I basically have figured out how to use these tools properly. But before, I was always just doing whatever I could to make whatever was in my head exist, like just make it work. And so I always had this fear that if I made this stuff public, that people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you could do this so much quicker this way, or like you're not using that tool right, or you're not using whatever. And like, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter how I use what incorrectly or like how long it takes me to make. I know what I know, and I use these things to make the things that I'm trying to create. And so I tell people, some people ask me like, what is my process? Like, how did I create this thing? And I'm like, you wouldn't understand it if I told you, because I don't use like a uniform way. If I have to make something, I just do it. I don't have a standard procedure. I don't have a go-to. I don't have anything. I just do it. And so, but you do this stuff like live or for an audience, or you try to explain it to people, and then people are like, no, like that's wrong. That's about whatever. But Like, look at the stuff that I create.
You're like, but I did it though, right? So
Right.
is it wrong?
Like, look at the end result. It doesn't matter how you get there. Just look at what it produced.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, I guess, like, if there was something that I was worried about, it would be that I just have like a really unorthodox way of doing the stuff that I do. But
Well,
like,
it's kind of funny that you bring that up because I feel like we just had this chapter between you and I. You've brought it up a few times that it makes you it kind of makes you giggle. I'm obviously paraphrasing, makes you giggle or whatever. How I just kind of figure shit out.
yeah,
Like this is you. I don't have to tell you. This is not my fucking realm.
right,
Me and the IT world is not something like. I'm not incapable, but I'm a mechanic.
right.
So to be able to figure shit out, and on this end of it, the way I have, which is completely ass backwards. I thought it was just kind of funny because we just recently had that conversation.
Well, and I think it's a very valuable tool. One of the things that I learned in programming was that the most important thing to know as a programmer is how to learn, right? Because you will never master a coding language to the point where you never have to look anything up ever. I don't care who you are. I don't care what profession you are, what level coder you are. You will always have to use Google to find the answer to something. The whole your whole programming career, right? And so the first thing that we learned was how to learn, how to search for stuff, how to find the answers to the questions that we had. Because in that realm especially, when you're trying to describe an issue to Google to find an answer to it, you're like, well, yeah, of course. Like, this doesn't make sense to anybody. I'm not going to get a solid answer on this because it doesn't make fucking sense. And so learning how to learn is a very, very, very important thing. And there's been a handful of projects that people have been like, can anybody do this? And I have absolutely no idea how to do that thing. But I'm like, I can do it because I know I'm so confident in my ability to learn and to learn quickly that if I say yes, I'm like, surely I can learn how to do it, right? Like, it can't be that hard. And then before I give them an answer, I'm just like, how do you make this thing a thing? Right. And then I get a very brief synopsis of it, and I'm like, yeah, that's something I could totally do. So I tell them, and then I learn as I'm creating it. And then the end result is something that they're thrilled with. And it's like, I've learned a new thing. I can add that to my portfolio, to my skill set, and I made this thing happen for this person.
Man, I really would like to highlight what you just said because I think it's so important that people have that confidence in themselves to sit within a moment and just make yourself believe in that moment. Okay, this is what needs to happen. Do I know exactly how to do it? No, but I can figure it out. I can figure it out. That's all you fucking need to know.
Right.
And because I can kind of relate, not classes, but I've had jobs, again, as a mechanic doing performance shit, doing blah, 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 off-road crap. And, there's millions and millions of times I can count that somebody's come to me and asked me, well, can you do this? And I said, no, but I can figure it out.
Right.
And that's all there is to it. Just the ability and the willingness to just fucking figure it out. You might fail at first. Okay, learn from it, do it again.
Yeah.
And I think that in and of itself, is a success move on its own. Making those strides for yourself, and that's fucking amazing. Like you said, the ability to learn.
Well, and I definitely think that it does have a time and a place, and that you do need to be vaguely familiar with the process, or like at least the field or like the industry that it has to do with, before you're like, yeah, I could learn how to do that. Like, if somebody were to be like, can you master this album that I created?
Oh.
And I said, yeah, well, that I'm fucking dumb.
Okay, so yeah, it has to be in the realm of your abilities,
right?
With knowing that much, and if you don't know how to shoot a gun, don't pick up a gun.
But if somebody's like, can you make me this thing that utilizes Illustrator and After Effects and Premiere Pro, and I don't know how to do that exact thing, but I have all this experience with those tools, I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Like, surely I can figure it out.
Right.
Right. Like, it can't be that hard because I'm familiar with the tools. I'm familiar with the process. Like, I kind of have an idea. Sure. Like, let's go for it. And then I figure it out and it works. But, if you've never touched Photoshop before and somebody's like, can you make me a logo for my company? Like, you probably shouldn't say okay. But, there's been times that I've done it in not the smartest way. Like, if somebody wants me to make them a website in a category that I've never made before, and I say yes, that's... If you ask somebody who works in tech or programming, they would say that you made a stupid choice. Like, you definitely shouldn't advertise that you can do something that you don't have a solid foundation on.
Mm-hmm.
But with having programming knowledge in general, especially with like web development and app development, just because I haven't made this specific type of website or this specific type of app before doesn't mean that with my knowledge I can't make it happen. But you're really not supposed to be like, yes, I can make this thing for you if you haven't done it yet, because it's just bad. I mean, it's frowned upon in that community. But I've done it before and it's worked out and it turned out great and I learned some stuff and they got a cool product. And so,
this is definitely a case by case, but if you feel the ability to make strides, then there's no reason you shouldn't try.
Yeah, I would say that if you're just going to do something like that, give yourself enough time to learn what you need to learn and actually figure it out. Don't be like, yeah, I can do this thing for you in 2 weeks, if you're like, I'm going to have to learn this thing first, because, you're probably setting yourself up for failure.
Not necessarily, and I'm trying to speak a little bit more vaguely, but probably not necessarily in your line of work. But one really silly thing that I did learn over time, as much as I hate to admit it, is if there's literature for it, read it.
Yeah.
I really hate saying that, but if there's instructions or literature on something, it might just be the answer you're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, it's there for a reason.
And most fucking people just look over it or throw them away. And I'm speaking very vaguely, so keep that in mind. But I found that out, just over time.
Dude, there's been so many things I've got from IKEA. And I'm like, I can build this. Like,
fucking IKEA.
Come on, it's a bookshelf. How hard could it be? And then I fucked the entire thing up to the point of no return. Like, then I just forever have a janky ass bookshelf in my living room because I didn't follow the instructions. Yeah, or else it falls over.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
There's just so. That's a pretty dumb example, but like if I would have just followed this 3-page guide on how to do it, then it wouldn't have been like that. But I'm like, well, how hard could it be? It's just a fucking dresser.
Dumb example, but good example.
Yeah. Like,
fucking read it. Take a second. Oh shit, man. On that note, do you want to plug any of the shit you're working on, or not quite yet? Any of the people you're working with?
I don't know. My thing is that, so I'm sort of at this point right now where I have a good amount of projects, commission work, things that I'm working on for people, and I don't want to be at a spot quite yet where like I'm having just a wave, like 20 people reach out to me at the same time and be like, yo, I need stuff. And then I'm like, oh shit, this is real now.
Okay.
Like now I have to schedule you out for 3 months and then do this all the time. So I'm kind of just seeing where it goes. But at some point, I will put my stuff out there so people can reach out to me if they do need stuff. And then I'll have examples of all my work and my portfolio and stuff so you guys can check it out. But I'm just not really quite there yet. I'm still, even though I've been doing this for a couple of years, I'm still sort of in the beginning stages of doing this professionally for people. So,
Well, I'll be waiting eagerly.
yeah.
So it's exciting. On that note, it was a good talk.
Yeah.
It was a good talk. You know, making leaps and bounds and leaps and stepping outside and doing your thing.
Yeah.
Good positive talk.
I do really encourage people, if they're interested in something, or you do have a talent and you're just not expressing it, or you're not putting it out there for people to hear or see, just try it. I understand the nervousness and anxiety around it, like, hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been dealing with it for a while, and not just wanting to have like a public profile of all my stuff, like on Instagram or Facebook or something, because I, for other reasons, but I get it, being, anxious about something and not wanting to take that chance because either you're like afraid of being rejected or failure or negative criticism or something. But, find somebody. If you're really good at doing artwork or graphic design or digital art or programming, find somebody small, find a community that and offer to do something for somebody just for fun or for free, and then do your first project. Be like, hey, are you looking for like a banner or a profile picture or a emoji or whatever you're looking for, and then just be like, I think that I can do this for you. I'll do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to use them if you don't like them, but just let me do them. I'll send them to you. Let me know what you think. And you never know, man. You could be like this person. This person could be your biggest fan and spread your name around, and now you've made a career out of it. If you know how to sing or you know how to play an instrument, and you meet somebody who's looking for whatever you do, just say, hey, this doesn't have to be anything professional, but just like, let me show you what I can do. If you like it, let me know. If not, then like, that's cool. And then just see where it takes you, because there's a good chance that you're probably as good as you think you are, and it'll open the door for a lot more opportunities, and you'll feel a lot better about doing it. Because like, I was a fucking wreck when I started doing this stuff for people, and then like I said earlier, even now I look back at the stuff that I made for people and I'm like, holy shit, why did I do that? But at the time, some of them were like, yeah, it's cool, whatever, like, I like it, I'll use it. And now I'm at the point where like, I'm getting constant like winners hit after hit. And so even if you need to grow a little bit, you got to start somewhere. So just do it, give it a shot. And if you are going to do something like that for the first time, though, I don't recommend charging anybody money for your stuff, because then you just look like a fucking moron. So
specific encouragement. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Very direct encouragement.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's a huge point. Always to go back to the basics of what we're doing here. It takes a lot of effort for two regular guys, regardless of who's sitting next to me, to come out here, and make an ass out of ourselves, just to make a point and to show some encouragement, to talk about the things that we do here. So the support is overwhelmingly amazing, and I appreciate every bit of it. And on that note, I do want to say thank you for the people listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, everywhere that everybody's listening. The numbers are exponentially growing faster than I would have ever believed. The statistics look amazing, and the fact that we're getting as many listeners for as long as we have been in just under a year is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Things are looking up. I talk a lot of big shit on here about doing video. We talked a lot about stuff that it was supposed to be happening in November, and it's not going to because the budget went to shit. I share all these things to keep it real. Many people that have listened, even people I don't know that have listened, have expressed how how amazing it is to listen to such a raw podcast. You know,
Yeah.
it's not just about the listeners' lives or the connections that they come with the guests. It's how raw and how real everything is still in this life for me and for you and for everybody. So
Yeah, and sometimes we're just really over ambitious about stuff.
super ambitious
and sort of deliver it prematurely because we're excited about it.
Fucking yeah, we're thrilled.
But everything is a constant work in progress, and we're just gonna continue to build. And I personally think that this thing is popping off, and it's great. I mean,
Thank you.
It's becoming really, really, really great.
And also, realistically, without the beginning support of you we wouldn't have found the level of quality that we have today. So
Yeah,
thank you for that.
of course.
And thank you to the listeners. Please continue listening. It's only going to go up from here.
Yeah,
I can promise you that.
you guys are the most important part after all.
Watching the numbers go up and up makes me happier than you will ever imagine. All we got to do is get me to quit my real job, We're almost there.
Yeah,
It's not far.
it'll come.
But anyway, as always, like, follow, subscribe. Hit that follow button for weekly updates and all the notifications of when we drop new episodes. And we'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Catch you guys next time.